Hello, hello, hello. Haven't seen you in a while. How are you doing, Miss Ma'am?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing good. You look amazing.
Thank you. You too.
It's been a while. We're so grateful for you coming here and joining us on A with Hub.
Yeah, I'm happy to be here. I'm happy to be here. Thanks for inviting me.
Yeah, yeah. So, I mean, we look forward to many more partnerships and things that we're doing on A with Hub and then also in person. So, I definitely look forward to receiving more of the things that you're doing so we can update you on other projects that we're currently working on.
Okay. Yeah, sounds good. Yeah, we could meet after this and figure things out.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Amazing. So, what have you been up to since the last time you've been here? We give it a few more minutes before we fully get started.
Um,
So tell us what you've been working on.
okay, so I actually moved to the US. I did a graduate program at Stanford. This has been
Congratulations.
a lot has happened. Thank you. Yeah, and I also see that you've made a lot of progress with the community. It's super amazing. Um, how has that been?
It's been a little bit. At first, it was like, okay, what are we gonna do now? That's gonna Education is something I feel like you can never keep the recipe the same. You're always having to change your formula, right? To
Yeah.
make the most amount of impact. And for us, we just said this year will be the year where we're not just doing things in a digital space. We're going to be doing a lot of projects in person with different partners. I believe
Mm,
that the space that we need to be in is great that we encourage women and we're all here, and it makes it easier for us to be free to say what we want to say in terms of like relatable subjects and topics. But a lot of the things that we'll be doing, we'll be building up communities and having students pretty much run them, and we'll be sponsoring them, bringing in African women in tech. So we're building out these units that are more community based. So, but we're starting with our digital because this is the only way we can meet. And those communities that we'll be working with students with will be pretty much global. But right now, our first partnership is in Nigeria. So as we build out other traction places, so with that, people like you come into play because your location matters. Although we do digital, in person is going to be key.
all right, exciting. I'm really excited for you and for the mission. I think it's also super valuable that you're bringing together like African women in tech, and I also think it's also a valuable space for see more women do things. So it's really good to see you like pioneer in this. The community members from across all of Africa or just Nairobi?
No, it's across all of Africa, but of course we launched in Nairobi first because that's where we launch all of our projects. Is always in Nairobi. So with that being said, then the project will be at pretty much all the universities. We're partnering with universities for this, but it's not just a
Mm,
university-based training; is a community-based that's hosted by the university, location-wise. So it's
okay.
definitely it has legs. It's going to be throughout the continent, and I live in the U.S., so there'll be programs here in the U.S. as well. But joiners will be online in a shared space such as this globally. So some of our projects will involve people working from different parts of the world together.
Yeah, amazing.
Yeah,
Okay.
so yeah, so I'm excited. The second one, I was like, "Girl, send me what you're doing," because even though we're doing this to get our people jump started, but maybe some of your other specialized things will not be here, maybe in person, because you're more doing a drill down, where you're probably reviewing people's personal information. So that's a different setup. So this is more open and the basic things that we do, but the more detailed. I can't wait for you to share with us how you're moving forward. So I don't want to take up any more of your time because that's my 5 minute rule of where I stop talking after 5 minutes, and I'm going to let you take over. We are in the background if you need us. You're also welcome to tell us if you want us to bring participants on the stage because then they could respond to you when you ask a question, or if you're comfortable with the setup the way it is, let us know.
Okay. The chat is active, right? Like people can
Yes.
drop.
Yeah,
Okay.
the Shane and those guys will be texting in the chat and keeping track of everything you need. So they'll definitely be sending it to you.
Okay, great. For everyone in attendance, I would love this to be an interactive session. You know, we're just gonna have fun with this. It's creativity, so let's all be creative, even in the way we interact with each other here. I'm super happy to be here, super happy to be talking to you today. Um, the first thing I want to get started with before we even dive into the whole spiel of designing a creative tech career, I first want to know what you're all doing right now. Are you employed? Are you not employed? Let me know in the chat. If you're employed, say you're employed. If you're not employed, say you're not employed. Just for me to get a sense of who's here. Okay, I see your response, Puzeletso. Correct me if I'm wrong. I see your response, Imelda and Omoye. I see Doreen is typing. Okay, I think we have a mix of employed and unemployed. So I think this would work for all of us. What my follow-up question to that is, do you fear losing your job or not getting a job? If you're employed, do you fear losing your job to AI? And if you're not employed, do you fear not getting a job in tech like soon? Just answer yes or no. Yes for I do fear, no for I don't fear. Okay, everybody fears yes and no. I would like to know your reasoning behind yes and no, Imelda. But they're mostly yeses, and rightly so. Um, what I want us to do today is to think about, or I'm trying to like redefine what career or jobs are, because things are changing at an accelerating pace. And the focus of my graduate studies at Stanford and like my research was future of work. And also from personal like interest and personal values and priorities, I've just seen like a lot of things being deprioritized, especially the human aspect of things, the fulfillment aspect of things when it comes to careers, and the society globally moving more towards how can we automate things, how can we get people to do things faster and be more productive, but we're losing what that essence is, what it means to be you know creative and to enjoy the work you do and to actually do something that is useful to the world. So just a quick intro. I'm Khaulat Abdulhakeem, and I'm a career strategist. I've been for a couple years now, and also a future of work researcher. And my mission basically is to help people like you design creative careers that are fulfilling. First of all, that is so core to the work I do, fulfilling and align with the demands of the future of work. Um, so when I say fulfilling, it's like something that wait, let me ask you first. When I say fulfilling career, what does that mean to you? If you were to be fulfilled in your career, what would that mean to you? Would it be more money? Would it be, you know, just doing fun things every day? What does fulfillment in your career mean to you? Is it possible, Annie, to just bring everyone on screen so that we can like
Yes.
just talk and everybody can talk?
Sure, I think it's much easier. I will start doing that right now.
Okay, I can see your response, Imelda. You wake up every day to do what you're, happy to do what you're doing, which is very valid. More money and growth, Shannon. I can see like there are three responses that we can work with here. Happy, money, growth. What I personally believe fulfillment to be, which kind of is at the intersection of everything you all mentioned, is I believe a fulfilling career is an impactful career. And that's something that I've found throughout my own career that has resonated. The what has given me the most joy has been when I've been able to impact a group of people or a community in a certain way. And through that, it has been able to give me the money, and I've been able to grow through it, and I've been happy with it because I'm helping people. There is this natural instinct of when you help people, when you impact people, you tend to be more fulfilled, yourself with what you're doing, because you see the direct result of all the work you're doing. Um, so even if you're like striving for growth and you want to grow, you want to think about it in such a way that, oh, yeah, I want to grow, but like, how can I help people in the process? And then it just happens naturally and you grow through the process. I can see some more responses. Um, Magdalene, fulfilling career for you is one that gives you joy of waking up every morning. Good pay and growth. Okay, I see it's still resonating. It's kind of same themes. So at the start of my own career, when I was in undergrad, I started I studied mechatronics engineering for my undergrad, but then I discovered AI, along the way in like my third year. But I was very interested in it, and I realized I was kind of like the only person doing it in this like small city in Nigeria, and I wanted to like connect with other people who were doing it. First, I looked around. Oh, are there any communities of people, doing this? And I didn't find any. So I decided, okay, I'm gonna found one and see if there's anybody interested in this thing. And I just created like a simple Google form and I put it out into my school group chat and like all the groups I belong to. And I kid you not, in like a week, there were over 100 registrations. 100 registrations, not only from my school, but beyond. People from other, it was shared with other colleges in the state. And it just kept growing. And that community grew to over 500 members in just over a year, just over a year. So that is kind of like me just naturally being, I want to learn this, but like I want to do it with other people. I'm sure that other people might be interested in this. Let me put it out. And the growth there came in when all these people showed up. And now I'm in a position where I actually have to learn 10x faster to be able to like present something, teach something to all these people that showed up. It's not like I was a pro myself in this thing. I was kind of like a beginner that was starting out, and I just wanted to like, connect with other people, but it just turned out that there were no experts doing it. And I just plunged into this position of like bringing this community together. So when you think about your career, and when I think about my career, it's about what is impactful, and that will bring about fulfillment. So that is what, keep that as like a mental model. Now whenever you think about career fulfillment, just think about which of this path would actually impact the most people, which of this path would be most useful to people. And then you would see that you would grow through the process, you would advance in your career through the process, and you will make money through the process. And you are not doing it just because you think it's a formula, help people, you make money. No, you're doing it because you truly believe that you want to help these people. So that's why you want to find like courses that are dear to your heart as opposed to just general things. Because if you're helping people that you don't really care about, it's not going to be fulfilling. So think about, things you care about and like how you can support in that way. So that's what fulfillment means. And when I say I help people design creative careers that are fulfilling and align with the demands of the future of work, I'm basically helping people become what I call creator entrepreneurs. And creator entrepreneurship is just this broad umbrella term of helping people create things or build things that are impactful for people, and in the broader sense, valuable in a way that they can actually make money from it. So in your specific case now, you're in tech, and now an area you can be thinking about is leveraging your tech skills in this same process that I talked about. So the what this umbrella term of creator entrepreneurship means is, or how I've designed it, is a situation where you combine creativity and human-centered design to build something meaningful and impactful. I recently wrote an article that kind of details all of this together. I'm just going to drop it in the chats, but I'll be, talking about some of the things from this. So basically, this process of creativity and human-centered design um, is okay. Maybe I should not have shared it yet and asked you first. But first, I want to ask you what creativity means to you before we dive and move forward. What does creativity mean to you?
So, according to me, creativity is the ability to think beyond what people are used to maybe thinking.
That's an interesting take, and I appreciate it. I agree with that. Okay, I want to hear other unique definitions for creativity.
I always see creativity as your ability to take something that everybody understands one way and be able to either
Mm.
recreate it into a totally different meaning just by the way you use it, or you recreate it for a different purpose. So to me, that's how I view creativity.
I actually love that. Yeah, I love that. Because like I also believe that creativity is always from something. It's not just like out of the blue. Um, so like that's like a good way to frame it. You're creating, putting it together. There is a cool talk I heard, and like this, I forgot his name. He described creativity as like when you take something that exists, you break it into pieces, and you rearrange it in your own way. And it kind of like explains what you just said. I see your in the chat, Mercy. Generate new ideas, yeah, generate new ideas, approach problems, I believe. Thinking out of the box. Okay, I think we're all on the same page. And something you can notice from all of this, which I kind of noted in the article, is we all think creativity is we all define creativity differently, and this comes from our own personal experiences and personal um, you know knowledge of things that we've come to know throughout our careers, of what creativity is. But it all kind of comes under the same thing of we're all creating something from something that exists, and we're making it unique in our own way. And when I say human-centered design, does everyone know what human-centered design is, first of all? Okay, I see a no, so I'm just going to go into like more details about what this process is. So human-centered design is when you think about designing anything with the human first in mind. So you're thinking about how do I prioritize the human first, and like how this will be beneficial to the human who wants to use it, as opposed to just designing for design's sake. People design things because it's beautiful, people design things because it's profitable, people design things for different reasons. But when you think about human-centered design, is how do I design this in a way that the user behind it, who is a human being, would actually love it and actually appreciate it. So human-centered design basically has like 4, 5 stages. So there is the discovery stage where you're discovering something. There is the what that thing is you want to design. You're discovering what it is. There is the define stage where you're defining what you're trying to design. There is the ideation stage where you're ideating what you're trying to design and trying to think about different ideas or that you could build on. There is a prototyping phase where you're actually building an initial minimum viable product, or kind of like just the simple version of the bigger thing, and then there's the implementation stage where you're implementing the full thing. So just know that for now, human-centered design is just this process where you're discovering what that thing is that you're trying to design, but then after you've defined it, you're ideating, through different processes while actually having humans in the loop throughout. Through the ideation process, you're having humans in the loop and saying like, oh, which ones is more do people find the most interesting, the people like the most. And throughout prototyping as well, you're like prototyping different versions and seeing, how they resonate with people. So that is kind of what human-centered design is. And creativity also, because of the very broad definition of creativity, had to come up with a way that would resonate with like everyone on a fundamental level, and that everybody can like resonate with, and it's kind of like a structured way of going about creativity, because most of our definitions are very vague right now. We say creativity is thinking out of the box, but what does thinking out of the box mean? We say creativity is breaking something down and building it in your own way. But how exactly do you do that? What exactly does that mean? So that led me to the work of Professor Mitch Resnick. He's an MIT professor, and he has this book called Lifelong Kindergarten. He also has a lab around that, and he basically describes creativity to be the process of working on something you're passionate about. Let them frame this well. Is basically working on when you work on projects based on your passions in collaboration with peers and in a playful spirit. So he's saying that we should all, that creativity across all stages of our lives should be like the way it is in kindergarten, where there is no like teacher in front of the class and everybody's learning, but instead there is like just this interaction and mingling among kids, where they are learning something together. They're interacting, asking questions, being curious, playing, all of this. And that's what he defines creativity is. And he has mostly focused his work on kids, and he has mentioned how like this can be also useful throughout our lives. So I decided to adapt his philosophy more for working adults, as we are now, and how we are, how we should shift away from that rigid sense of I'm doing work or I'm building something, but it's not exciting, to, oh, it's exciting, I'm curious, I'm doing something I'm passionate about, I'm playing, and I'm working with peers. But what does play mean in a work sense? What does working with peers, who in this case would be your like colleagues, mean in this sense? So all of these things is what I sort of came together to distill into this process, where I combined Mitch's philosophy for creativity and human-centered design. So if you think about Mitch's philosophy, think about all these items: passion, project, play, peer. You can think about them as like the you can think about them as the action, sorry, and then the process is the human-centered design. Let me see if I can show you real quick what this is. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Yeah, we
Okay.
can see it.
Oh, okay, great. I see it too. So you see, according here, basically what I describe this as is a combination of Mitch's philosophy for creativity, which includes projects, passion, care, play. And then when you think about human-centered design, that is something I came up to be DIPS, which is discovery, define, ideate, prototype, and implement. And basically I'm thinking about the creativity as the action and human-centered design as the process. So with whatever you want to work on, it should be something you're passionate about. Like, is this something that I'm passionate about? And like, this process also, it's okay if you don't know what that passion is. This is why I created the Confusion to Clarity Toolkit, which was like one of the very first products I created, because there were a lot of people me myself, I went through this phase in my career, you know, after getting into grad school, and just in that confused state. And this was built out of how I climbed out of that situation based on how you know, the trajectory in my career, and I decided to like put it together into like the system that is really valuable. If you feel confused right now about what you're doing, if you're unsure about your path in tech, if you're unsure about what direction you're going in and all of these things, I recommend, you know, getting the conditions to clarity toolkit. The first tool would help you reflect and identify what that thing is, and after it, you'll get very, very clear on what it is that you want to do. You can find the toolkit here, but that wouldn't be the focus of of this workshop. What I want to focus on is I want to believe, let's just assume everybody here loves the path they are in tech. You know, you all enjoy what you're doing. So the goal is you've already discovered it in this sense. And then there is the project phase where you're defining and ideating. And there is a prototyping phase where you're building. And there is also the peer phase where you're implementing and like, you know, working with people. So we're going to do some version of step 1, 2, and 4, you know, today. Yeah, we're going to do some version of that today. And then the prototyping, we wouldn't touch more on much of it because that involves like the actual like building of something, which will take a lot of time. But now let me describe. So before we move on, first at this stage, I want to get a sense of like some things you guys are passionate about. If you can unmute yourself, please do so and just say it. This could be like a course. Is it when I say a course, is it something like climate, or is it something like, or is this something you want to apply your tech skills to that you're passionate about? Is this something at work? Share in the chat or just unmute yourself. What's something you're passionate about? Can be multiple things. It's also okay if you don't know what you're passionate about. And it can just be random, unrelated to tech. It could be food. What are you passionate about? Ah, okay. I see responses already. Kristen, you love working with kids and the older generation. Awesome. You're passionate about leadership pressures. Waking up knowing you have a different challenge to solve. Climate change, bringing people to the right platform. I love all of these responses. Organizing conferences, recruiting talents, crafting, media and storytelling. Yeah, I love that too. Trying to figure yours out. Tech innovation. Oh, okay. So we have so many passions. So many passions. So what we're going to do now is we're going to come up with projects that you can work on around your passions. So now when I say project, this can be things that, so in the case of, for example, Kristen likes working with kids and the older generation. What is a project you can do, Kristen, that would be impactful? Remember that fulfillment aspect. If you like working with kids, what's something you could do that would be impactful for them and would leverage the skill set you have? So we want to come up with, at this stage, we just want to come up with a list of projects. So everybody just think for a few minutes. Think about like projects. It could be 1, it could be 3, it could be 5, and just dump them in the chat. And then we're going to do something with it after. What's a project that you can think of? It could be something you've not worked on before, or something you've not thought about before. Now you're just thinking, I probably could do that. Okay, I see one response already. Hi.
Hi. For me, I wrote the passion on tech innovation for women's healthcare research. And what I've been seeing nowadays, projects that are upcoming on that is working on machine learning models that, let's say for one, if it's matters of cancer, that like ways you can come up with machine learning models that can help in early detection of cancer when they look at your ultrasound images. So apart from maybe cancer, there can be other areas of the body that for women that I can try to work on a machine learning model that will help in early detection of things that go unnoticed earlier on. Yeah.
That is amazing. Thank you so much for sharing. Where do you see early detection of cancer? So in this case now, we have the definition of what you want to work on. And if we were to follow that process I talked about, you're ideating different things you can work on. And one of it is this early detection of cancer. That's step 2 of the project phase. So in the iteration of this whole process, the next thing that you would want to do is like, let's say, for example, you've come up with this idea of, detecting early detection of cancer, and you've come up with like 5 others that are under women, tech innovation for women's health research. You've come up with like 5 different ways beyond early detection of cancer that you can do. So what you want to do is take this 5 out to the world and speak to women and hear their thoughts about like what they think about like this 5 solutions. Which ones would they find the most valuable? Which ones would interest them the most? It's also something that is widely known as market research. But this is like a stage in the human-centered design process. You want to bring humans in the loop of whatever you're building. So you take that, just chat with women, could be women in the community here, and you just ask them about all of this, like things that you're trying to build. Is what are you struggling with? Is there like a if it's in the case of like early detection, what is like the most common disease that people struggle with where you are? If you're in Kenya, is there something is that something you want to focus on? Or like, what are amongst those 4 other options, is there something that really resonates with people the most? And that is what the ideation phase will help you do. It would help you find that one thing. So same for you, Jacqueline. Simplifying scientific data for audience, that is like one of your idea. You can come up with multiple ideas, and then after that process of having conversations about it, you will then be able to take the one that is most that resonated the most with people. In this case, for Jacqueline, it can be simplifying scientific data for the audience. For Sharon, it can be, the tech innovation for women's health research. And basically, once you've come up with these things, the next stage would then be, can I build something simple that's a prototype that I can get people to use? And could I build different versions of this, or could I iterate it continuously? So that's like what prototyping is. And then you eventually get to implement and share it with the world. And if you see where the creativity comes in also, it comes in for that project phase. Projects is the stage for creativity, and that's where you define and ideate. Play is where you're building the prototype, and you're just playing and building different prototypes of the same solution and seeing which ones work. And then pair is when you're sharing it with people, sharing it and working with people. So this can be in different contexts, in the context of your work, in the context of you just like working on a passion project, whatever the case may be. So that's where that comes in. So we we basically discuss like the whole process now, and you can deep dive, read the article like you really enjoyed, because like I covered a broad range of things beyond just this philosophy that I was able to put together, but creativity as a whole, and what work means to us, what our existence in this world means to us, our purpose means to us. So it would help you really frame things in a better sense, to help you think about, oh, this is this is meaningful to me. This is not what, spending my time on. And hopefully you would get to be able to figure things out from there. So this is actually the first implementation of this Design Your Creative Career workshop that we've been developing for a while now. And I'm glad I got to like present this to you guys first. But we're developing a larger version of this workshop for the launch, which we plan to do on Stanford University campus. But just recently, we decided to just open it up to the public and make it virtual instead. And we have a lot of beyond the core workshop itself, where you'll be working on more activities like this. You get to like meet people from across the globe, the United States, Canada, other countries, and you would also get to listen to some very creative and like successful professionals in Stanford University and in the Bay Area that are doing things in, as technologists. So it's a mix. There are technologists, there are artists, there are educators, there are entrepreneurs, and there are activists. So a lot of people doing like a lot of cool stuff will be coming together for this workshop. It's happening on the 14th of August. So I would share this with you when it comes up. But one quick thing you can do right now is on that same link for that article, just like fill in the workshop interest form, and you'll be notified once the registration for that one for the main workshop is live, and then you'll be able to like meet a whole lot more people and like collaborate and understand the concept better. But
And then
yeah, this yeah, go
also
ahead.
also to the greater, we could share it to the greater community once you send us the information and the link, and we'll just do a pitch after.
Yeah, okay. That's great. I'll share the link with you once the registration page is live. Um, so that is just one thing I wanted to mention. Another thing.
I
Oh
actually
yeah,
meant your
so
interest form. I'm sorry. I actually meant your interest form so we could get it generated for you to go live.
okay. The other thing I wanted to mention is we are trying to develop a solution that goes beyond just like talking in the workshop, but to actually build and implement, because my mission overall is for greater economic prosperity, and to build an economy that prioritizes humanity beyond just profit. And there are a lot of cool people doing interesting work, and the goal is how can we support people to actually go all the way, where they are implementing, from all of these passions you have, how can you go all the way and actually build it into something that is valuable to the world, is impactful to the world, and you can make money from, and would be exciting to you and fulfilling to you, all of these things. And that's why we're developing a program. It's a 10 week long program. You'd learn more about it as well if you join the upcoming workshop. And I can also send this to the community as well once that is up. But yeah, those are the two exciting things that I wanted to mention. For the next 7 minutes that we have, six now, I would just answer questions that you may have about whatever we discussed now, or about your tech career in general.
This was amazing once again. I think that people, like when you're unemployed, your mind just goes into a bubble and you think you're doing everything. And then when you're listening to someone like you start to realize, oh, well, maybe I didn't think about this, or maybe I didn't think about that, or whatever the case may
Mm,
be. So, it's good. We think that, it's just another, career workshop. But when you're actually in it and you're learning, you see that, you could position yourself differently to be more successful. So, I just want to say thank you for that, because there are times in my career that I have been unemployed and the mindset didn't really change. I just went into a bubble and just said I needed a job without thinking more about the other creative side that will help me to land something that I would be more passionate about.
Yeah. Yeah, I think like that's a mistake that we all have fallen to at one point in our lives or another, where we just think the answer is a job. And I think for me is when my last year in college, before I founded, after I founded the community and I was about to graduate, I gave myself 3 months before I graduated and was like, if I don't get a job in 3 months, I will apply to everything. If I don't get a job, I'm going to start a company. And that was just it. That determination of, if I don't get a job. And I eventually like founded my first company, Diversity, and it was based on that passion of how can I help people? What are the things I know that will be helpful to people? And how can I build it in a way that is actually like valuable and something that I would enjoy on a day-to-day basis? And the lessons I've learned from building that company and also falling into the trap of, the building a tech startup, fundraising and all of those things, and realizing that that's not really the path I want to go down. And realizing that what I feel is the most fulfilling is a career where you have the most freedom, with what you're doing. You have the most, you have the most creative freedom to experiment and like say, oh, I want to try out this new thing, but there's nobody somewhere telling you you can't because we're giving you money as a salary or as a funder. So all of these things are the things that motivated this. I'm glad that you brought that up because like it's very limiting to just say you want to apply to a job, or you want to get a job. There are so many more opportunities if you just give yourself the freedom to do so and you believe in yourself that you can actually do it. But it's also like being very real and true with yourself. Are you willing to like learn and do what it takes? And in the initial stages, you actually might need a job to support yourself. And on the side, you are actually developing this thing that will be like a long-term project that you're working on. So yeah, that's really just it. Any more questions?
Oh, yes. I work more on the people side, recruitment and events, and I find tech tools making our work faster. Actually, when I met Annie, I was helping her to do concept notes for conferences. But nowadays,
Okay.
we use AI. So, but I still support maybe sourcing for speakers, partners. So I also fear that AI may be taking some of our jobs. I'm also an HR by I have an HR background. So sometimes we draft what are they? JDs, yeah. But
Yeah.
nowadays you can do that with AI. So
Yeah.
that's really taking up our jobs.
Yeah. I don't know how I feel about this time, especially as somebody who, my career has been in the AI scene, in the tech scene. I am more like reserved and like more when it comes to AI things. Like I'm not hyper crazy. You get a sense of it like when you read the article properly. But I think like we just need to prioritize what makes humans happy, what makes us fulfilled. Because sooner or later, it's just going to get to a point where people are just bored. They're just bored and tired and just done with having everything be automated. People want to do stuff with their hands. People want to think. People want to build, and there is just like automation for, you know, some company that's trying to like make profit, and they're just using you as a cog in the machine, you know, to do something. So it's just thinking that way. And I think that's where like more and more of the creativity and the thinking was like dissolved in the workforce in such a way that people, you're just trying to do something that makes the whole engine work. You are not, you don't have that freedom to do your own thing. And what I'm trying to help people do here is do your own thing, leverage your own skills, build the things you want to do. So yeah, I'm glad that you brought that up, and I hope what I said was a kind of a response to your question, which wasn't really a question, Ruth.
Yeah, it was
Ruth,
like it was a comment. Yeah.
yeah, I hope I responded to you.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, Shannon.
I just have a really brief question, and it's what is that one mindset that you've carried through your career path?
Mindset. I think it's just going to be a repetition of what I've said. The mindset is, how can I make an impact in the world the best way I can, you know, for as long as I live. So it's like having good conscience and knowing what my goal is. And at the end of the day, it's not money. It's, I want to help people. I want to leave the world better than it was, you know, when I leave. So it's that's kind of the mindset I have, that I think everyone should have, of like, you know, what can we do as good people? There are a lot of like bad people in the world doing bad things, just optimizing for things that don't really make sense in the end of the day. We're all gonna die. Whether we like it or not, we're gonna die. So like, what do you want to leave behind in the world? And that is kind of the mindset I carry on with my career. Yeah, thanks for that question. Let me just go through these two comments. How can I have you as a mentor? Jacqueline, okay, so what we can do is let's connect on LinkedIn. And if you have questions, you can, you know, reach out to me. I do one-on-one career coaching if that's like something you would want to sign up for at some point. But I also recommend that you guys get the at least the first two, get all of them because they will help you. In the Confusion to Clarity Toolkit, visit khaulatable.com, get the tool. It would help you really identify what that core thing you see. Even to your question, Shannon, of like, it will help you really get clear on what that thing is you want to like bring to the world. And Christine, I'm just going to read your comment. Some weeks ago, I thought of creating a platform for the Kenyan population in the 18 to 25 age group, especially to equip them with simple life skills, because right now the majority of younger Gen Z and Gen Alpha. Yeah, I haven't narrowed it down. Oh, I'm so glad. And this is such a great mission. Please let me know how it goes. Also connect with me on LinkedIn. All of you should send me a connection request on LinkedIn. This is amazing. And I would love to see all of you in the bigger workshop when it happens. Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much for having this session with us on the Hub. We are so excited about our future partnerships with you. So let us know all the things that you're working on and how we can future support you, especially with the initiatives where you are, where it's a 10-week. We'd love to introduce that to the community as an option. Also, we ask that, I know a lot of people don't want to fill out their profiles, but if you share your profiles, we'll be using that to market within the Hub as well. So if there's important links that you want us to share, important information, please make sure those things are in your bio, because ultimately we're going to optimize it so that within the community, we're sharing information and also having people participate, and as well as other partnerships that could just come from you being in a hub. So thank you for another wonderful session and for joining us and for coming and taking out the time, you know, to make sure that we're all understanding how we need to look at our careers differently and how we could still stay within the passions that make us enjoy life a little bit better. right? So
Yeah.
I look forward to all the information that you sent us. We look forward to partnering with you to help market and make that happen for you, because you always support the community. So therefore, we will support you. Otherwise, everyone, thank you for a wonderful session. Everyone, enjoy the rest of your day.
Okay, bye everyone.
Thank you.